All right, guys, today we have another fun video to bring to you. I know we've been doing a couple of tier lists and power rankings and all that good stuff, and I want to continue to do these because they're fun for me to make. I like going over them, but today we actually have JOJOPYUN himself. He was doing this on stream, tier listing the LEC mid laners for 2025. Again, mid lane is the easiest position to do all this stuff for right now because it's the only position in the LEC, or the only position between the LEC and LCS, where we actually have all 10 players locked in for the next season. Now, obviously, a big part of this, and I think JoJoPyun even said this on his stream, is that he's not familiar with a lot of these players. He hasn't played against many of them. He hasn't heard of many of them or seen a lot of them play or whatever. But obviously, he's still doing his best to create the content, get the trash talk going, get the storylines going, get the hype and excitement ready for the LEC in 2025. And that's something that I hope many other fans can appreciate, because I know a lot of people have said, hey, a lot of the players and stuff are not as like showmen or not as entertaining as they used to be and all that stuff. You know, the Doublifts, the Bjergsons, the Yankos, these guys from old that used to stream and create content and play and blah, blah, blah. Now we just have a bunch of boring people. Hey, JoJoPyun's doing his best to make the LEC exciting. So let's go through his tier list. At the bottom, in the D tier, he's got none other than Vladdy. Now, this is going to be a huge trash talk and a huge rivalry and huge matchup throughout the whole year. I know JoJoPyun, he put out a tweet that was like, hey, whatever the most upvoted comment is going to be my solo queue name. And I believe Vladdy's son ended up getting the most upvotes, because obviously we have this Koi and K-Corp rivalry, this trash talking that's always going to be going back and forth between them. So obviously the two mid laners who are going to be matching up against each other are always going to be compared. Now, Vladdy, this really hyped up guy, young prospect that people are really excited about. K-Corp obviously believes in him a ton. They think he's going to be great. And then you have JoJoPyun over there as well, who's maybe a tiny bit more established, but also young upcoming prospect trying to prove himself, especially bouncing back, from a rocky 2024 and all this stuff. So they're both young. They both have bright futures ahead of them. Hopefully, they're both very, very competitive and talented. So these guys are going to be butting heads a ton. And every time K-Corp and Koi play, but also throughout the year, Vladdy and JoJoPyun are going to be compared to each other. There's going to be that matchup, them going toe-to-toe. But JoJoPyun starting off with Vladdy at the bottom of his tier list, which of course is always going to be funny. And I do hope we continue to get this JoJo versus Vladdy and K-Corp versus Koi drama, trash talk, storylines, rivalry, whatever you will call it, throughout the whole year. Now, going into the C tier, something people might be a little bit surprised about. I got to find out all the players and stuff in here, where they are on this list. Next up, we have Jackie's. I can't find him. I don't see him on here for whatever reason. Okay, here we go. We got Jackie's in the C tier. Now, during different lists that we've made already, even just from the Sheep Esports community, Jackie's has been in very, very different places. I think some of our lists had him as high as like 4th. Some people say, hey, maybe you should be 5th or 6th. I don't know. JoJo's obviously got him very far down. I don't know if the left to right matters in JoJo's list or not. I'm going to assume that it doesn't, or maybe it does. I don't know, because we'll talk about that more in a second. But he does have Jackie's in the C tier. Again, another guy, prospect, up and coming, not as much experience as some of the older school mid laners in the LEC and stuff, but one that people are very excited about. I don't know. Jackie's a good player. We'll have to see how he is able to do against some of the more experienced mid laners in 2025, guys like Caps and Humanoid, how good he's going to do against JoJo. JoJo obviously not as hyped up or excited, not buying into the hype maybe as much as some other people, with Jackie's in that C tier. Next up, we have Camilo in the C tier as well. This guy is a very, very inexperienced prospect. Again, this guy's skipping over the tier 2s, going from tier 3 to tier 1, which is going to be just a cool storyline. I'm happy for the guy. He's with Team Heretics. I hope he's able to do well. I think this will be a very, very fun player to watch in 2025. I'm sure he's going to have plenty of ups and downs. I'm sure he's going to take plenty of lumps in 2025, but that is to be expected from somebody who hasn't even played in the tier 2s of Europe just yet. But yeah, young, hype prospect, should be fun to watch. Again, another guy who I can't wait to see him go against guys like JoJo and Caps and Humanoid and stuff like that. Going to be super fun. But again, JoJo not buying into hype just yet, not letting this guy, get off scot-free this early in his career. Next, we have Chayek in the C tier. Again, this is another guy who people aren't super excited about necessarily. Maybe people who know him as much, not as big of a name, not as big of a prospect as some of these other guys. JoJo has him down in the C tier. And then we have Reeker as well, rounding this out. It's hard to find everybody when there's just so many names and it's like overwhelming. There we go. Reeker here in the C tier. This is another guy who we've seen in the LEC previously. Not for very long. Obviously, his stint with Mad Lions did not last that long, but he was very, very good when he went back down to the ERLs. So he gets his chance. He has earned that chance, and we will get to see if he has a little bit longer of a tenure in the LEC this time, a little bit longer of a run, and if he's learned some things, if he's grown at all, and how strong he's going to be in this second little run in the LEC. But this is so far who JoJo has as his bottom 5 mid laners in the LEC again. some familiar names, some names that maybe people would be a little bit surprised. Again, I think he's probably a little bit low on Jackie's and Vladdy. But yeah, I think most people have Chayek, Reeker, and Kamilu, towards the bottom of their list, but not everyone has Vladdy as their worst mid laner. Not everybody has Jackie's in that bottom 5, but some people definitely do have Jackie's in that bottom 5. It kind of depends who you ask. All these lists are going to be a little bit different. Now, up into the B tier is where it gets a little bit interesting. Larson is who he has next. Now, again, Larson is a name who people have all over the place. Some people have Larson as low as like 7th or 8th, who think he's just totally washed. Also, some people have Larson lower because this rogue team, we don't even know who they're going to be, and they might be like a super budget roster that's totally thrown together last minute at this point, because we still don't even have a rogue roster yet. We still have no idea what's going on, and most of the LEC, most of the ERL off seasons are done, so it's going to be really tough for them to get anything too crazy thrown together. And obviously, League of Legends is a team game. If your team around you is not very good, it's going to be hard for you to be too strong. Larson, obviously, a guy who at his best can be the best mid laner in the LEC, the second best mid laner in the LEC, whatever, top 2 or 3 for sure, but who hasn't necessarily been that as of late. Is he washed? Is he going to bounce back? Is his team going to let him down? Whatever. I don't know. People have Larson in a lot of different places. JoJo has him higher than some people. And then next we have Mr. Nuke in the B tier. Again, this is another guy who people think people are sleeping on a little bit, and people think Nuke is a little bit underrated right now, that he was actually pretty good in 2024 and he's not getting enough praise as he deserves. This BDS roster honestly looks pretty interesting with Nuke and Irrelevant, Ice, Peruse. Obviously, one of the big question marks here is 113, and 113 and Nuke, their synergy is going to depend a lot about how strong Nuke's season is and how good Nuke is able to be. But this BDS roster looks like it'll be fun to watch. It has a lot of talent on paper. If Nuke is a strong mid laner, this team could be very good. So this will be something to watch out for. Nuke's a guy who we've seen in the LEC for a little bit now, obviously a couple years, and yeah, he's good. He can be very strong. I hope he's consistent and strong into 2025, and that will make BDS be a very strong team. And more strong teams in the LEC is what we all need. We need those teams challenging those upper echelon teams so that we can get stronger and stronger and hopefully do something in the world. So JoJo has Nuke in that position on his B tier. Now, again, does the left or right matter? I don't even know. Who knows? Whatever. Next up, into the A tier, he just got one man. In the A tier, he has Humanoid. Now, again, some people would argue that this thing should be different. Some people say Humanoid is washed, overrated, fraudmanoid, whatever. People say Humanoid should be lower. People say Nuke, Jackie's, Vladdy, Larson, whatever name you want should be ahead of Humanoid. Humanoid shouldn't have a job. Humanoid should be out of the LEC. I've seen all these different takes across Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place throughout the LEC offseason. But other people would say, hey, Humanoid is the second best mid laner in the LEC, or the third, or whatever. There's people who have him over JoJo. There's people who think he, is comparable to Caps. Not as good as Caps. I think everyone unanimously has Caps as number 1. But Humanoid is very polarizing. Some people think Fnatic should go in a different direction. Some people think, hey, Fnatic has an amazing mid laner, and that's an amazing, valuable asset for Fnatic, so they should hang on to him for as long as they can. JoJo definitely seems to respect Humanoid, or maybe it's just a guy who he knows the most and he throws him the A tier, whatever. But he is the man sitting by himself, by his lonesome in that A tier, which obviously brings us to the S tier, where we have Caps. Now, again, Caps, not a surprising pick at all. This is honestly a guy who JOJOPYUN, I believe, has played against before. JOJOPYUN has gone international a couple times, and I believe they have matched up, and I don't think that went all too well for JOJOPYUN. That's just off the top of my head. I don't remember for sure, but trying to go based off memory. But yeah, Caps, obviously a beast, the best player in Western League of Legends history, a guy who's made multiple World Finals, an MSI champion. He had a good 2024. He was kind of carrying G2 a lot of different times. At Worlds, I think he looked pretty good in 2024 as well. I remember the Yone game where he's side laning, literally trying to 1v9 for G2, but they still come up short. I think he's going to have a strong 2025 again, and I really do hope that a lot of these young and up-and-coming guys like the JoJos, the Vladdys, the Jackies, the Nukes, that these guys can challenge Caps and help take him and G2 to the next level, because again, I do think it takes a whole league. It takes the whole player pool to push everyone higher and higher and higher. And if Caps is stronger, that's going to help everyone else be stronger. And if everyone else is going to be stronger, it's going to help Caps and G2 and all these teams be stronger. And it's going to help Europe and the West do things on the international stage, which is honestly what we want all at the end of the day. And then finally, in the S tier as the second mid laner, obviously we have JoJo, ranking JoJo himself in the S tier. Now, again, if the left or right matters, I don't know. He has himself as the best player. Maybe the left or right doesn't matter. I think it could, because he has Jackie's on the top of the C tier. He's got himself at the top of the S tier. It's very, very possible. But he does have him ranked above Humanoid as well. He has himself as a top 2 mid laner. He has himself as the best mid laner in the LEC. But yeah, this is what JoJo has as his 2025 LEC mid lane tier list. I'd love to know what you guys think about it. If you guys think it's trash, if you guys think he's onto something. But again, don't take this too seriously, because again, I don't even think he knows very much about any of these players. I just think he's trying to get some drama, trying to get some content going, and we can all love and appreciate that. We'll have to see how this ends up playing out and how good JoJo and Koi end up doing in 2025. But also just want to mention real quick that we are doing the Holy by Sheep Esports giveaway. It's going on right now. We're offering 1 year of Holy Drink to anyone who orders with codes SE5 or SE10. SE5 is going to get you €5 off your first purchase, and SE10 is going to get you 10% off your entire basket. To participate, all you have to do is place an order with one of those codes before December 6th of 2024, so you still got plenty of time, and one of you lucky people is going to win. So check out Holy, first link in the description below. They are great tasting energy drinks that are also healthier than the competition. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. Until then.